Botswana was the first country that I came to Africa. And when I was in Italy, at the Italian Institute of Technology, my friends will tease me. You will be eaten by a lion there in Botswana.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm scared, and also being my first time in Africa, I thought, when I come down from the airplane, what you see in movies, and then the third one, of course, is you create your own opportunity. Yeah, it's either you become a farmer, become a farmer with technology, back by technology, or becoming have a bar, but run having a different model, because you have a better understanding of how things are going. So yeah, the third one is a little bit difficult, but it may be the most satisfying if you become successful. Yeah. So it could be technology based, it could be in other things. So now we go into the second stage. The second stage of the project is about building the military grade drones. Military grade meaning, they can fly very far, they can fly very long. No, not it's not. I don't do for military meaning it can have endurance, it can fly despite disturbances in the wind. Yeah. And also can fly very long and can control using GPS. So we are moving into that direction. So hopefully our first
Okay. Hi, guys. This is another episode of House of Scientists and Engineers. My name is Pomolo Buikaho, and today I have a special guest. His name is Professor Rodrigo Jamisola Jr. And we're going to ask him a few questions about himself, where he's from, why he's here, and what makes him click. So, sir,
Yeah, hello everyone, and thank you for inviting me to this podcast.
yeah, you're welcome, sir.
Yes, so tell me
What do you
what are
want?
the things you want to know about me or to know about my work?
Well, the first thing is I want to know you, not the job side of you. You, where you're from, where you grew up, what you like to eat, maybe. Maybe I'll take you out for dinner sometime.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm from the Philippines, and I came to Africa, to Botswana, in 2015, and this is my first time in Africa. I worked from the Italian Institute of Technology before coming here, and I saw an opportunity to teach here, and so I always had an idea of coming to Africa. Maybe when I retire, I will come here and spend time you know with some of the communities. But it came earlier. I mean, I didn't really think that I would spend most of my prime time of my life here, but I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, school wise, how was school for you growing up and coming up until this level to being a professor? How was it? How was the journey? Was it troublesome? Parents giving you problems, siblings annoying you, things like that.
Oh, I think I grew up very lucky. My parents were both elementary school teachers. My mother was my first primary one teacher, and my father was my primary six teacher. So both of them were teachers, and we saw them as there were six siblings, and I'm the youngest. And growing up, we know them, we saw them, working very hard every night as to make a lesson plan, and nobody in the family wanted to be a teacher. But then for me, I wanted to be a researcher. That's what I really want. I want to do, I want to create things. I want to discover new things. And when I tried to do that, I never realized that you should be a professor to do that. or you can be, of course, a professor is one. The other one is you can start your own company to discover new things, or you can also work in a research institute to do that. So in the Philippines, we don't have a lot of research institutes that that pays very well. Although we have, but in terms of salary, it's not very comfortable. So in terms of teaching, also, it's not very much. So you have to go out. And I think also in terms of the third option of starting your own business, it's not yet the right time. So I opted to be a professor.
You opted to be a professor. So when you came here, were you already a professor or?
Yes, yes. I was already teaching when I came here. Of course, to be a professor, you have to have a PhD, and I went to several places. So from the school that I studied, it was very far. In the Philippines, it's like in the heart of the Philippines, and my town was very far, like 100 kilometers away. At that time, you have to travel 4 hours from the city to go to my hometown. So it's a very remote hometown. And then very few students qualify to study at the University of the Philippines. That's our premier university. So I was lucky again from that elementary school. I went to the high school in the city. I studied there as a young boy. I think a 12, 13 years old, you start high school in the Philippines. So I learned to cook by myself because I studied in the city. So you have to cook by yourself, wash your own clothes, like that. So yeah, I guess the process of coming out from that remote town into the city was a very big transformation for me, not just in terms of academics, but also in terms of the lifestyle and growing up. So you really have to adjust and adapt on how to survive, and also being a student who when you it's like when you're a performing student, a lot of students don't like you.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Yeah,
They never.
especially if you're coming from the remote place and suddenly all of these city kids, you're beating them left and right in academics, and they won't like it. So I don't have a lot of friends in the city when I grew up, and so it's also part of the learning process that you just have to survive and concentrate on what you do in your studies and perform well despite this kind of situation. So now from there, most of like that all over in the Philippines, the same as here in Botswana, all of the high school students will try to take the examination and qualify for that university. So normally it's very difficult to qualify in that university. Only one or two students will qualify from some high schools. So at that time we were lucky. There were three of us from that high school. We qualified. We went to Manila, where we studied at the University of the Philippines. Yeah, that's yeah. From the University of the Philippines, I started studying there at 16 years of age. So here now you studied 18 years old. 18 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
usually start
18 years.
college, yeah,
Yeah,
at
18.
18,
Yeah, yeah,
19, somewhere around
yeah.
there.
So for us, we studied 16 years old because it was a shortened period. 6 years in elementary school and then 4 years in high school. That's 10 years. Then you start. Then you go to the university.
Wow, I would have loved to have
Mm.
that, because school was helping me personally. I like
Mm-hmm.
school, but so now one thing I want to know is that growing up, since you wanted to be a researcher, you were
Mm-hmm.
prone to being curious about certain things.
Yes.
Did you ever, like mess up your parents' stuff in order to try?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I messed up a lot. Yeah. Uh, nowadays we have a lot of gadgets. Yeah, but when I was growing up, having a refrigerator is already a big experience for the
Yeah,
family, and
okay.
also television at that time is not very common. Yeah, and then stereo. We have this huge stereo. It's like a huge box, but the electronics is just very few inside. So I used to open that and then just connect things and put things, they touch things here and there because there was this the stairs. I mean, a two-floor house, and then under the stairs it was like a workshop or some sort, or a storage room where I normally go there and just take things and make my toys, create things. There was this wire that I remember until now. It's huge, like wires that I will, these taut wires, or that you can make any things, make your toys, create, make a circle like that, and make these uh, wheels and create something. Yeah, and that I think that workshop or that storage room made me, experiment on many things and try to explore even as simple things as toys, new toys that you create yourself. Because in that town, it's very difficult to buy toys, and we also don't have money to buy toys.
Yes.
And so that stereo, I messed it up many times, and my father just don't say anything. He will just ask someone to fix it and come and fix it whenever I mess it up.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but television, yeah, we had it when I was already a little bit older, and we used to watch television from our neighbors because we don't have them.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you used to watch. So what about other kids playing with them? Did you ever relate with them? Like, I know you said you were bullied, but I mean, like, kids, your siblings, your brothers and sisters, how were they? Like, didn't they bully you in your workshop, try to mess you up? Because we have these sibling cat fights.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So did any one of them ever mess you up by going to your workshop and trying to steal something and mess it up?
No, in the family, I was the baby in the family. Yeah, I was surrounded by love in the family, and all the older siblings. We don't really compete. It is our neighbors, the kids that we play with. We have a lot of competitions there because we live in the town. We don't have relatives. My grandmother went there because she's a teacher, and she's a scholar teacher for Philippine Normal College. And then when you finish there, you will be thrown to many remote areas, and she was thrown in that remote area, and I'm thrown as in assigned in that remote area as a teacher, and then she met my grandfather, and then that's where they started a family. And then that's why we don't have in that town, we don't have many relatives. So when we play with kids, we don't have any relatives, so those kids, they all have their relatives and friends, so we have to fight them. So we have to be independent players in the way we interact with those kids. And I think also, that's also a learning experience to be tough. So I think we grew up tough because in front of the house is like our house. The old house is in front of the municipal uh, town center. Is the municipal hall where the mayor is, like this. I don't know how you call it around here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't really live in front of the
Yeah.
mayor's houses. They are usually secluded into other
Okay.
areas somewhere
Yeah.
elsewhere. Yeah.
It's like a town hall, yeah, where the offices of all the towns are there, and then in front of it is a huge plaza or a park, and then in front of that is our house. So our house and the town hall, and then in front is the big plaza where we play with many of my friends. And so that area also, it's a very uh, good area for learning and interacting with kids growing up.
Yeah. Okay. So you always learned, always like loved learning, and always surrounded yourself with places where you were observant about what was going on, things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I think all kids are.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with you, the way you describe it, it's like ever since that young age, you've been pursuing actively and not actively, proactively. You seem to have
Yeah.
been always channeled towards that vision of becoming a researcher because you had the eye, you are observing, and you remember everything in detail, which is quite rare for a few people
Yeah,
to
I
remember
think
it
so.
in to that great detail. I know we all remember things
Mm,
that we are attached to, but in detail like that, it's only a few. So, say,
mm.
did you ever think anything outside your goals and research and just goof off and do something else?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you grow up, you have many ideas on what you want to do. At one point, you even want to go to the moon.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you want to achieve many good things and impress all your friends. You know that I can do this. And as you grow up, you realize some things are practical, some things are not practical. Yeah. So uh, I think w- 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 us as kids, we always have an ambition on what we should do with our life. At one point, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a politician because I organized this in our town. The young kids when we were teenagers, I led a young kids organization. I organized it and I became a president, and we created many things. We made things for the community, and so I thought I wanted to be a lawyer and I wanted to lead communities and become a mayor, for example, or a congressman like that. Yeah. So we all have these big dreams, yeah, to achieve big ideas. But eventually, as you grow older, I thought, this is not what my country needs. I think my focus is mostly on what my country would need from me. That's what I really uh, pushes me as in my career, in the years of my career. I always thought about what I can do for my country back home. So I do all these things, training everywhere, go to school everywhere, because I thought eventually I can go back home and do something.
You could do something. Okay. So if we were to take away all of that,
Hmm.
everything that you've ever lived for, dreamed about, what do you think you would do now?
What do you think I would do now if I
Yeah.
take away all that?
Yeah.
Oh, I think if you take away all that, I wanted to be a farmer. Yeah. Yeah, because being a farmer, I mean, you always want to have these technologies, and you want to create something new, and you want to do something that really create a business, for example, out of the technology that you develop, and help the people around you and create job opportunities for them. But if such thing don't happen, and I mean, your spirit doesn't die. So if all these things will come out and all the society will go away and you're left by yourself, all you need to do is just to survive. Well, the best way to survive is to become a farmer, make your own food. Yeah, and so I grew up also. My father, although he was a teacher, we have a small farm. So we grew up also, working on the farm as young kids. And so we developed the love of planting and raising farms, raising animals. And I don't think uh, being a farmer, of course, most of the time now being a farmer, you have less income. But I think most of the time people think that we choose a career that will give us so much money, yeah, that will make us satisfied because we created so much wealth. But I think that should not be the case. The case is, I think you should do what you like to do and what your talent is, and which part are you strong, and then you nurture that, and then push, and then develop yourself. Because in the end, if you really uh, nurture that uh, inherent ability that you have, I don't think you will grow hungry. But of course, the purpose is not for us to be hungry. Yeah? I mean, not for us to just survive and just be not hungry. But what we want is we really push so that we can be, other people can be dependent with us, to us as well. Yeah, that you are making uh, probably helping others to have a job, or looking for them for an opportunity for you to maybe direct them on whatever good things that you discovered. So I think yeah, even if your spirit, everything is everything will go away, the spirit is there, and now you push, you create and become a farmer, that's still a good thing to do.
Yeah. You and I personally think that farming is a good thing because it's land. You can grow crops, eat, then refine them, make your clothes out of them. So yeah, survival definitely, it's something that's good. So now, Sam, when you first flew out of your country, or however you
Mhm.
went, how did you first leave the country, and where were you going?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question. I first went to Singapore. Singapore is just how many hours flight? 3 hours flight from the Philippines. It's very close, and it's just within our region. You have the SADC region. We have a Southeast Asia region, where in that region we don't really need to go out to have a visa to visit that country. But at that time, Singapore was expanding in terms of job opportunities, and my siblings were there. So again, I'm lucky because my sibling was there. My two of them were there already. Excuse me. And then so I went there with them, and then they said, all you need to do is just visit there, and you can get all these job offers. So I visited there as a tourist, and then I get job offer, and then there I started there. I think I just worked in the Philippines for I think 1 year, and then I went to Singapore, and then I get a job there, and then it started. It all started there. When whenever I work in the industry, I really feel bored. So I felt bored in the Philippines. 1 year, I said, okay, I went to Singapore. Maybe it will be better for me, the new environment. But when I went there, I also feel bored. So I thought I want to study. So I applied for Master of Engineering at the National University of Singapore. So I got the scholarship, and so it just takes off from there. So there in Singapore, I got introduced into robotics, and I worked with a very famous professor, Professor Osama Khatib from Stanford University. He visits to Singapore because Singapore at that time was again expanding in terms of scholars coming in, students from different regions coming in, and also academics, professors from different parts of the world, MIT, Stanford, like that, comes in there to interact with the students. So again, I think. I was lucky again in that sense. So as like Professor Khatib will always say, you know, uh, to be successful in life, talent is one, yeah, but also luck is another. You need to be very very lucky, yeah, yeah. So in that sense, I think I'm lucky, and I worked with him, and we published things with him, and yeah, that's how I have a very strong background in terms of robotics. That anywhere I go, I can always say that I'm in the world class. I have a world class, cutting edge understanding of how to control robots.
Okay, that's powerful because
Mm.
I'm also interested in robots. I liked Iron Man growing up as a kid,
Mm.
and when I heard that there was mechatronics, I came running.
Yeah, yeah.
First opportunity that came. Okay, so say, tell us about your degrees, your academic life in college. How many degrees did you do, and where did you do them?
Okay. So the bachelor's degree was at the University of the Philippines in Diliman, Quezon City. That's in Metro Manila. That's the premier university in the Philippines. So any student in the Philippines would dream to go there. And so I got that. I never really realized I wanted to be there because as a young kid I just play all the time, and I never realized there was that such university, a good university that you can go to. But that university really made that a very big difference in terms of academic training and learning, because even there I always compare students here. Say in my undergraduate university, we don't really check attendance. Yeah, we don't check attendance, so you can attend anytime. If you don't want to attend, the professor don't care. If you attend naked also, nobody will bother you, because that university you can express yourself. It is like uh, a sanctuary, a sanctuary for freedom of expression. So at the time we were fighting against the dictator, President Ferdinand Marcos Sr., it was that university that was our sanctuary, where all this freedom of expression goes in there, and you will never be in trouble. So that's why the student can just do anything as long as you pass. Then that's it, you will graduate. But if you don't, of course you cannot. So there's no strict rules on the conduct of the students. So the student is responsible for himself to be able to, to do what is expected of him. And so that kind of training made me had gave me a huge, a very good foundation for the future, programs that I did, master's program and towards PhD. So in Singapore, I had a master of engineering in robotics, and that master of engineering is research based. So we take only two courses, two coursework, and then the rest you do research. Yeah. So that robot was very old, 1960s robot. I never thought we can make it work. Me and another Singaporean student, there's this table, just like this table, and then all the electronic parts are there. If you remove one, you wonder whether one connection is necessary, and it's connected to the big robot there. And so we make it slowly, we make it work. So I have this big metal stick that I will push the robot like that because it's very dangerous. Then eventually we tame it. We tame it as in we were able to program it so that it can work well. And then from that, when we tame it, it was able to work. And then we control it. And then the project expands. Now we have more money, and then we add more like a mobile base, other robots, and then comes a much bigger research work. Yeah.
So you were starting from scratch, like.
Yes, yes. I mean, starting from scratch in terms of, especially in terms of electronics, in terms of control. Yeah. Of course, you buy the structure of the robot because that is difficult to manufacture. Yeah. And then most of the time, you will develop the interface to control that robot. That interface was done by the previous student. And then now we start the control from scratch. It is the program that we control from scratch. And then from that master's, I applied for PhD in America because I wanted to go to America because my siblings in Singapore went to America already. So at one point, I'm being in Singapore because it's a very small place. You find it, it's too constraining. I mean, the space can be too constraining because you can just travel it 30 minutes. You can just cross the island and then that's it. There's nothing else. Yeah. So we want to explore other areas because you're still young. So my siblings were already in America and I want to go there. So I applied very extensively to find universities for PhD in America. And using my background in research in Singapore, I had many. Again, I get lucky. I had many offers to do PhD, and one of it was to do in Colorado, Colorado State University. And then I asked my advisor in Singapore, "Sir, I have this offer. Which one should I take?" He said, "Oh, take the Colorado State. The university is not very famous as what many people say, but the professor there was very famous, so I have to go there." So I went there, and and then the whole family. When I went there, my wife was pregnant for my second kid. My daughter was 1 year old, and then it was quite an adventure also because maybe they won't allow my wife to fly because she's already pregnant, 7 months, but her tummy is small. So we went out. I mean, we flew, but there was no problem. So we went there. So we went to Colorado, the whole family. I bring my daughter, and then my wife is pregnant. And then we arrived around August 2001, August 27, 2001 in Colorado. Then after just a few weeks, 9/11 came. Yeah. September 11, 2001. Yeah. So you see live TV, the World Trade Center buildings collapsed. I mean, got attacked, and I thought I wanted to go back home because maybe this is the world war already. But anyway, so there. With that, we continued. But then the problem there is many students. This is what I want to tell students. Doing postgraduate studies is always not smooth. And in my case, I was one of them. My postgraduate studies was not very smooth. In Singapore, it was smooth. For master's, for PhD, no. For the PhD, I fought with my advisor. So we worked very well after 2 years, but starting 3 years, it was a very big struggle. Every time I do, I feel like every time I do something, the requirement becomes higher and higher. Every time you finish something, this new requirement coming in. It's like it's never ending, and my family is growing. My son is born there, and then no, and then my daughter, and I have to take care of them also. So there's not enough money for me to support the family because I was just, you know, uh, I had a student stipend, so I have to work extra hours to earn money. Yeah, so it's never easy, but it's okay. You can push. But the problem is, you know, I never that relationship with me and my advisor was becoming worse and worse. So in the end, after 5 years, I uh, I went for final defense of my thesis, and I failed. Yeah, so I failed my PhD in Colorado, and I have to go back to the Philippines. I mean, I had an offer to do work in America, so I accepted the job offer. So I left my PhD. I just take the master's degree because I feel that at that time I have done enough in terms of time. I cannot go beyond that, and I have my family to take care. So I take the job because I need to support my family and take the master's degree instead. So I have a master's degree from Colorado State University. From the master's, another master's because I had a master's degree from Singapore, National University of Singapore. There's another master's from Colorado State. So like that, and then eventually I was assigned, you know, that work in San Diego at the L3 Communications. I have to go back to Asia because I'm assigned to go around Asia. We were doing controls of boats, you know, using GPS signals. Again, I'm lucky because I have all this exposure to the actual, you know, actual robotics platform. So we control boats by GPS signal, and it's used now with my projects in the drones. That we control using GPS signals. Because when you control a boat using GPS signals, that means on the surface, I mean on the sea, you know, surface, yeah, surface of the water, the boat will be steady despite all these disturbances of the waves. Yeah, and also when you supply boats like that, when a supply boat, there's a rig, and then it won't hit the rig. It won't create accident because it's a much controlled movement. So yeah, that exposure, I mean, sent me to different parts of the world, including this. They told me I can be stationed in the Philippines. So I get myself stationed in the Philippines and then go around the world. Then being stationed in the Philippines, I uh, see my friends again, and then I feel like I wanted to finish my PhD because it was unrequited love, you know, unrequited goal that I wanted to do to really do my PhD. And so I teach. I joined a university. It's De La Salle University in the Philippines. I joined there and I teach there while doing my PhD. So I teach full time. I do my PhD. I finish it in 1 year and 1 semester. So people will ask, starting from scratch. I have to study again. I have to enroll. I think 6 courses. I'm not sure how many courses was there. I forgot already. But anyway, I have to start from the very beginning to start with my whole because it's. I thought, you know, if I have a whole group of friends that will start with me, then we can finish together. So I gathered them together, and then we start the PhD program. But of course, not all of you have the same motivation. But for me, it's really like it's a do or die for me. So I wake up. I sleep 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I wake up 5 o'clock, almost every day, and then run for my classes because I still have to travel to the university, and then I again do the same cycle, sleep to late so that you can do all this research work that is necessary, and so on until I get my PhD in 1 year, 1 semester. So they ask me, why do you do it? How did you do it very fast? Well, of course, I already have this, experience, yeah, in the U.S., and I know how to go around these, requirements. But at the same time, I was really very, very desperate. When if only I can really buy that degree, I will buy it with all the money that I have. But there's not no such thing. You have to work for it. and so I work for it. I push everything. I told my family, you stay there in the province. I finish my work here in Manila because I was teaching in Manila. And then when I finish it, I bring my family again to Manila. And so that's how. And then the problem is, all these things after your PhD. Also, the students think that when you have your PhD, well, you're already made with your life. You have done something. Being a doctor like that, yeah, is a huge achievement. Yeah, it is a huge achievement indeed, but it is not the end. It is, being a doctor opens up new responsibilities. Again, you have to create research to create new knowledge and all these things, make students, train students, and this is just the beginning of a new kind of life. Yeah, and there. So the problem there is that in the Philippines, we don't have. I mean, I'm stuck in the Philippines. Yeah, now because I go around different places, and then in the end, I'm back in the Philippines because I failed. Yeah, I failed and I cannot do. It's like I'm stuck. I cannot do anything. So for me to go back again to the to join the fight, or to join the game, the world stage, I have to be affiliated again with another university. So the best way to do that is to be a postdoc or postdoctoral fellow in South Africa. So I'm in not South Africa, it's in South Korea. So I went into South Korea. I spent around 2 years there as a postdoc. Then afterwards, I went to Italian Institute of Technology as a postdoc again. It's like this process. If you think being an academic, it's really a smooth process. But well, of course, many students have very smooth process, but for me, it was not smooth. It was very rough, and if my spirit was very weak, then I could not finish it. There's no way. But it toughens me that now after my PhD, I can, you know, I see my colleagues here. They said, just small, things that they cannot do, then they won't do it anymore. But it was not me. Me was things I get it because I things were hard, and so now I'm already immune to that. So any difficulty, no, it's just
Yeah, what doesn't kill
peaceful.
you makes you strong.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was it. So all this time, how was it? It seems really stressful. So how was your family coping with it and other
That's
things?
a question.
Yeah.
Maybe so for another podcast.
Okay, another podcast. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but seriously, yeah, it's very stressful. And seriously, my wife is they always say behind every successful man is a strong woman. Yeah. She's been my strong support, and she doesn't complain so much, even if we don't have a lot of money being a student. And yeah, I mean, and traveling many different places like that, and going uprooting the kids because these things didn't work out like that. But eventually, when I brought them to Manila, that's why I let them stay there so that they will finish. Because for me, I just let me do my work, and then let the kids grow because they need to grow and also find their own ways on how to support themselves in the world. And but my wife, yeah, she's. Yeah, we support each other, and the things that we do, we she right now she also has his own small business and family business. Because of that, she has more free time to also support me and in other things that we are doing. Yeah.
Wonderful, sir. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. You are blessed. So,
Mm.
so now let's come to Africa now,
Yes, Africa.
where we are now,
Yes.
in the desert, in the hotness. Now, sir,
Mm.
when you came here, was Botswana the first country you came to?
Yeah, Botswana was the first country that I came to Africa. And when I was in Italy at the Italian Institute of Technology, my friends will tease me. You will be eaten by a lion there in Botswana.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm scared, and also being my first time in Africa, I thought, when I come down from the airplane, what you see in movies, there's a, are we at time? You're okay with time? Yeah, okay. So you thought, there will be drums. You will be met with drums, and it's woo like that, and then like a path, like a carpeted red carpet like that. Then you walk there, very jolly,
Yeah.
welcoming. But at the end of that red carpet is a big cauldron, like a big pot, boiling pot. Then they will throw you there. I thought that I will be eaten. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. But when I came here, and then the person that really tells me, there was this famous professor, famous robotics professor. So famous, he knows many, many things. He's like a walking Wikipedia. Whatever you ask him, he knows. So I asked him, is it good to go to Botswana? He said, oh, why? Yeah, Roy Featherstone, his name. Yeah, he was a professor at the Australian National University, and he joined there in Italy. And he told me, we always go the same bus every morning. And then he told me, you should go there. Excuse me. Are you adventurous? Yeah, yeah, I'm adventurous, sir. Yeah, you should go there because Botswana, they said, is the USA of Africa. The USA of Africa. Okay, yeah, yeah. That's what his impression was, and it's a safe country first of all. But the only problem was that the HIV. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
HIV
yeah,
is
yeah.
at the time it's what's 1/4. I mean 25% have HIV. Okay, so I have to put that in my mind. So when I came here, so I was lucky. There was no boiling pot that they will throw and eat me.
Yes,
But then people are friendly, people are welcoming. I go to bars in Palapi here in 2015. You go to a bar, everyone will know you. Yeah, there's just very few people. Everyone was very friendly like that. Oh, like that. Then I find, it's not too bad. They said so yeah. I mean, it was safe. I go around. Of course, I make friends with one local my neighbor. So whenever I go out to some places I'm not very familiar, I will bring him so that he will be my sort of bodyguard. But yeah, it's in terms of HIV, I think I said I will count whenever go to the bar. I will count 1, 2, 3, 4. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4. That one has like that. But it's not really. But unless you make contact with them in such a way that the disease can spread, but casually, I don't think you will get it.
Oh, okay, okay. So, sir, uh, the last question before we close.
Oh, okay. Last question already. I thought there will be many questions.
Question. This it might they might come out, but uh, yeah, yeah. So, how many research papers have you written, and which one was your favorite?
I never counted my research paper. Now, yeah, yeah, maybe around 30. Yeah. So I mean journal publications, and then conference many. I cannot count. Journal publications in terms of the good ones. My favorite one is that when I this formulation that I did when I was in Korea, as a postdoc in Korea, and I proposed that to say that I have a new equation that will help in terms of controlling cooperative robots. That means two robots cooperating. I will control them as a single robot. So it's called a holistic controller. So the good thing about holistic controller is that it's just like a person. Yeah, when you're one person, so you can control everything because everything is centralized. You have your single brain, and you can coordinate everything. But then when you work with another person, then communication is a problem. Yeah, and so with that, then miscommunication can create many problems, and then we cannot coordinate very well because our brains are separate. Yeah, so that kind of controller that I formulated, somebody already formulated that. I just make a certain way to simplify the equation. So the way to control it is that two separate robots, like or two separate individuals, we control them as one individual. So now these two persons become like a one person, a single person, so that now you can coordinate very well. Yeah, and the one that I did there is just to simplify the equation. There were, I mean, it's like, ironically, the first proponent for that kind of controller is my PhD advisor in America. But then he didn't simplify the equations. And another professor in Canada also did that, and he simplified it, but it's not very much in a very simplified form. So now I studied it, and then I I like, playing around with equations, and then I come out with a much simplified equation, and a much better, more correct expression. And so now that is my favorite paper. I think it's really something that it's something new to the field, and it opens up many different strategies. So I apply that to robots. I apply that to I apply that to drones. I apply it to like one leg can be one robot, two legs. So many different platforms for the same equation. Most researchers are like that. We have the same concept and apply it to many different things, and opens up many different researches. So that's one of my favorite. The other favorite is the machine learning part, where I deeply develop it here. I through my BDF project, the drones project, we started out a very serious machine learning work, where to identify animals from based on their behavior, and I apply that to many different areas, not just identification of herd of the animal, but also identification of human behavior, whether that human is a poacher or not, or that human is a threat to something or not. So the good thing about that is that you don't need a very high power camera, and you don't need a lot of very good identification. But the method of observing their behavior, how points behave, then it makes it a very strong tool for machine learning. And then those two things are, I think, very good tools that will be used by many researchers in many years to come.
No, so, so.
So I wish I can explain it in a much better, so that I think the best way. I mean, the problem with new technology or something that you created, the important thing is to make people understand what you have done. Yeah, I always go back to Einstein. When Einstein did his theory of all this relativity and everything, he wrote his book, a very thin book, but in a way that is very concise, and people can really understand it very well. So that's also a challenge to many researchers, that when you discover something, you know, you have to show and let people understand what is it, so that they will, they can appreciate it and probably use it, you know in in any research, because now research becomes fully integrated. One solution in robotics can be used in medicine. Yeah, on one solution in other fields, even in robotics, can be done in chemistry, like that.
Yeah. So, money.
Yeah, please ask me about
Yeah,
money.
yeah. So, so in all these projects, publishings, and whatever, how much money was it worth? How much have you made?
Yeah.
And did you enjoy it? How did you blow it? Because that one
I
is also.
guess. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I think I started a kind of revolution here in BIUST, to say that in one of the interviews I had with the research office, I say that researchers should have honorarium. Honorarium is like when you have a project, you get certain amount of money. Yeah. So if I have a project and I don't get money, I won't work on that project. Yeah. So every project I have money that I receive. So now the problem is, they always ask me, how did you do this? And BIOS don't allow that, this allow that. Yeah, of course, BIOS will just say, there are things we cannot do, things we cannot do here. But you have to really bargain and then push your own agenda. Because if you don't give me this honorarium, no, I won't. I won't work on this research. So every research that I have, how many research already, you can calculate, and you can say, how. But well, are they willing to give you money? Well, you have to tell them. For example, my work with, I have currently I have the Botswana project now. I have an honorarium there. Yeah, and then I have a U.S. Army project now. I have an honorarium there. Yeah. I have a BDF project before. I receive an honorarium there. I have another workshop coming in. I have an honorarium there. So every time you're doing something, you should get something out of it. Because the problem is, BS will always say, no, you're already, but, you're an employee of BIOS. Yeah, I'm employee of BIOS, but then without, it is through my effort that I get these projects. I bring in money to be used. And it is just, justifiable for me to get something because I'm the one who bring in the money. Yeah. For example, another professor working the same department or in the same in BIOS, we have the same salary, for example. He doesn't have a project. It's fine. He won't get honorarium. But if I have a project and I don't get honorarium, what's the difference between me and that professor? I won't be motivated enough to work on my project if I don't have honorarium because it is just an additional work for me, an additional burden without any benefit from it.
Yeah. So you need to get the compensation.
Yeah, to get the compensation. But the thing is, how to go around this. That's why it is like it's really maneuvering your own. You have to protect your own, agenda and your own welfare. And what is the art to do this? It will be for another podcast
Yeah.
because
There's a lot. There's a lot.
there's
to
a lot
talk.
of things that you can. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to ask you about our I of seminar when we had done the program.
Okay.
US, Botswana was
Oh, okay. Yes. Mm. The whole project. Yeah. That one is finished already. It started in 2019, but the proposal, I submitted the proposal in 2016. Imagine the work, 2016 and then 2019. Yeah. I started, excuse me, meeting people from BDF in 2016. There's one secret that I tell people. I mean, it's not a secret now, but in Botswana or any other developing country, most important, or any, I mean, maybe especially in a country that is developing, I should say, most important is your connection to people, to your funders, yeah, and also how you relate with them. So when I arrived here in Botswana, Ian Kama was still the president. 2 months after I arrived here, I shook the hands of Ian Kama. That's how I was determined to really make connections here in this country. And then afterwards, I met the Ministry of Defense like that. So now, because of that, I told them I can develop drones, and they were very, very eager to fund me on that. And so I started out with making an MOU with BUs and BDF. It took 2 years, and then BDF. I mean the MOA for the project for the funds now is another year. So it started in 2019. So in that case, I also put honorarium for myself there. So now the project takes 8 Master of Engineering students. Imagine to supervise 8 students. And then there was COVID. Again, I get lucky because there was COVID. COVID was for me an opportunity. Yeah, for Chinese people, they say a crisis is an opportunity. So because of that crisis, we don't. I just stayed in the house and we meet. We do the project while everyone is sleeping, while everyone is their house. We do the project online, and then we meet. because my students are soldiers, yeah, so we are allowed to go around. We are not constrained, yeah,
Yeah.
to go around, so we can go around and do what we want. So the result of that project, we developed 4 laboratory drones from scratch. From scratch, we buy small components, we buy motors, we buy propellers, we buy microcontrollers, and then we create our own control, and then we flew the drones, developed from here. It's not something that you buy the whole drone and fly it. No, we develop everything from scratch. And why is it important to develop everything from scratch? Well, it is very important because, first of all, you know the technology. Once you know, I mean, that means you master the technology. Once you master the technology, you can expand it to many different ways you want, because you're not constrained to a technology that someone gave you. You know? So now we showed that in 2021, December 2021, when the project was almost finished. All the BDF, high command was here, and BU's EMT was here. We flew it in the in the field, in the soccer field. Those 4 drones that we developed, they fly successfully, and also we showed that they can see the people running around, and we interpret their movement, the machine learning part that I was saying. So now we go into the second stage. The second stage of the project is about building the military grade drones. Military grade meaning, they can fly very far, they can fly very long. No, not it's not. I don't do for military, meaning it can have endurance. It can fly despite disturbances in the wind. Yeah, and also can fly very long and can control using GPS. So we are moving into that direction. So hopefully our first, and then afterwards, if we finish this, the third stage is to create a company to sell those drones. So once you see now we will be selling drones first to BDF, and also now sell drones also from outside. I mean outside the country. So you create, maybe you will be working in that company. What was the budget? Which budget? For the project, the whole project, or what? Huh? For the project, it was not very high. The first project, the first stage was around 3 million pula. Okay? And then the US Army project is like now is around 5.8, yeah, 5 around 6 million pula. And then the next stage, the military grade drone, will be one uh, 10 million pula. No, 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 sorry. It's 1 million US dollars. Yeah, 10 million pula. Yeah. So yeah, you're talking about all this money. Yeah. And and again, because you're dealing with a lot of money, your honorarium is just very small. A small percentage of that money. Yeah. You understand?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Before you go,
Mm.
any advice you can give to someone who wants to any advice to get rid of
Yeah. You just have to be tough. And you don't stop. If things don't work out on your side, maybe you pause a little bit, you think about it, sleep over it, and then fight again. Yeah.
that with the student.
Uh,
Is
I
there any project now?
Yes, yeah. I mean those projects. One, I have existing project in Botswana. Yeah, I have one PhD student working on that, and the budget there is not very much. It's 1.6 million pula, and it's about machine learning modeling of blasting. You model blasting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Imagine how. I mean, you cannot express it mathematically on how to model the blasting, but machine learning can model that. And then the second one is that U.S. Army project. To Now, U.S. Army has 2 PhD students, and the budget for that is around 6 million pula. And then it is about tracks, animal tracks. You look at the animal tracks, and then you interpret whether the animal tracks, the footprints of the animals in the wild. Yeah, the footprints of the animals in the wild, as long as the footprints of the persons, of the humans, then you interpret those. You interpret it whether the animal was threatened or not based on the footprints, or the humans, the footprint to say that is the human like an abnormal behavior or normal behavior in terms of poachers, possible poachers. So nowadays machine learning is very good in terms of identifying footprints. Yeah, but it's not very good of interpretation. It is what we are doing, interpreting and building a story. It's like the tracks are is a record, is a history. Now you have a history and you want to interpret what happens to the history. That is what we are trying to do. And then the third, there's another. The third will be the BDF military grade drones. That will be the third. And then the fourth is another workshop. Many. I'm very busy. Yes. Mm. Yes.
Since you are busy with those projects, is your office open for some others to about this idea or this Malaya like that?
Yeah, yeah. I always recruit students. The first students that I had, now they're doing PhD somewhere. Other students are running their own businesses. Where started out as second year students. They come into my office, they volunteer, I give them work. Many students do that. They will just come in and then, sir, I want to join your lab. Okay, I give you work. Yeah, I give you assignment, and then come back and show me what you have done. Most students don't come back. Yeah, only very few students will come back, and some students they come back, eventually they will die out. No, but some students come in. So those students that really come in, I give them access to my office. That's why if you go to my office, there are computers there. Those are for students who volunteer. Yeah. No, no. Those are for students. My office is also my lab. I provide platforms for students to work.
So, are you guys done? Yes, thank you. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
I have
enjoy.
I have
Yeah.
no questions. I have no questions. I've learned a lot from our interaction during the podcast and before. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome,
For creating time in your busy schedule. Thank you.
You're welcome. I enjoyed my time here, and I hope I inspired many of the students in BUST, and also the academics in BUST, and the community around here in this country. Hopefully, I mean, I'm not from here, but I made things happen, despite the fact that I'm not from here. And my major struggle is how to adapt to the local, culture. Sometimes it's difficult to communicate, difficult to really move around because I'm not familiar with how people think and how people work. Their style of work is also I have to understand. So those things. So despite that, I can still manage. So what's the difference between you and me? There's no much difference except that I don't stop. I mean, I don't surrender easily. That's all. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, last comment. Yeah. Please invite me for the next podcast. Yeah, and also the last comment, mostly to the students. I think honestly, there's not much of opportunities here for work. When you graduate, most likely you won't have a work, right? That's a fact. Yeah, because you don't have so much industries here. Yeah. So there are two things or maybe three major options that you can do. Yeah. The first option, if you're a good student, you can continue as a postgraduate student and be used. Yeah. It's good. Yeah. And then work to become a professor and be used. Yeah. That's one. But not everyone can do that. Yeah. So the second option is I think I still encourage students to at least have a master's degree because nowadays a master's degree is almost required if you really want to do something. Yeah, in terms of technology, understanding technology, it is almost a requirement to have a master's degree. And also, if you go out, concentrate on trying to get opportunities here. But if you cannot get opportunities here, if you have a master's degree, it opens up opportunities also outside of the country. Yeah, yeah, that's one. Or you can also pursue PhD outside of the country. Yeah, so just keep on looking around and looking for opportunities. And then the third one, of course, is you create your own opportunity. Yeah, it's either you become a farmer. Yeah, become a farmer with technology, back by technology, or becoming have a bar. Yeah, yeah, but run having a different model. Yeah, because you have a better understanding of how things are going. So yeah, the third one is a little bit difficult, but it may be the most satisfying if you become successful. Yeah, so it could be technology based, it could be in other things. I review many submissions to BAH, and you can see how students or young entrepreneurs are thinking. It's not quite yet there. They're very impractical in terms of what the community wants. So there is that disconnect. Yeah, that as a young kid you must have a clear understanding of, you must observe. If you want to create your own business, yeah, create your own opportunity, you must be very careful about observing what's the need of the community and work for that, and then capitalize on what you are good at. Don't forget on what you are good at, because it's the one that will push you. Because if you try to just do because you just want the money, things don't work like that. It should be something that you are willing to do, and because you know that you're the best person who can do that, and the other person, it's something that is your much on the advantage. That's all. Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you. And we're closing, guys. Thank you for listening to our podcast and channeling in. You're welcome for the next book. Thank you. Bye bye.